We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. Your being is rooted in the body. Your body is not separate from the existence. Instead, it is part of it. Your whole body represents the entire universe. It is not something limited, finite. You may have observed it or may not, but try to observe where your body does really end. Do you think that your body ends where your skin ends? Introspect on it. The very process of civilization, education, culture, conditioning starts with division, creating the narrow boundaries. Everyone is taught he is separate from the other. Not only that, he is two, not one. And then of course one begins to be identified with the mind and not with the body, because civilization, culture, education, conditioning all comes through the mind. The very thinking process becomes your center, and the thinking process is just periphery. It is not the center, because you can exist without thinking. When you are given anesthesia during an operation session, there is no thinking, but you still exist. Once you existed without thinking, thinking is not a necessity to exist. If you go deep into meditation, you will be, but there will be no thinking. If you become unconscious, you will be, but there will be no thinking. Moving into deep sleep, you will be, but no thinking. Thinking is just on the periphery. It is part of civilization, education, culture, conditionings. Moving into, but you are being taught continuously that you are two. This is what our religions, the so-called religions, has infused into us. We are separate from the other. But the reality is we are not aliens, nor is strangers joined. We are bound to each other by a causeless force. But religion does not create that causeless force that unites. Even in a particular sect, let's put it at Islam, there are 72 firqas. Shias and Sunnis, they are against one another. So on and so forth. In Christianity, so many sects are there. It has not been able to unite the people. The people belonging to one church, they are separate from the other church members. The similar things have happened in almost all the religions. That is why I am not interested in any so-called religions that teaches you to divide within yourself between body and the mind. But body is the reality. Your being is rooted in the body, not in the mind. But mind is given more importance. I am in favor of religion which teaches you the unity within you, harmony within you first, and then the harmony in the entire universe. You are taught continuously that you are two, body and mind. Then the greater division begins at that level, at individual level, and then continues. Really, you are the mind and you possess the body. Mind becomes the master and body becomes the slave, and you go on struggling against the body. This creates a division, a gap, and this gap creates problems. All neurosis is born out of this gap. All anxieties are born out of this gap. If sun, which is so far away, just goes dead one day, instantly you will be dead here, and you consider yourself separate from the universe. If the sun rays stop coming, you will be no more here. Your body cannot exist without the sun being there so far away. The sun and you are somehow deeply related. Sun must be included in your body, otherwise you cannot exist. You are part of the sun rays. In the morning you see flowers open their buds, open their petals. Their opening is really the rising of the sun. In the night they will close. Their closing represents the setting of the sun. They are just rays that are spread out. You exist there because sun exists. Your skin is not really your skin. Your skin goes on spreading. Even the sun is included in it. You are breathing. You can breathe because air is there. If the air is not there in the atmosphere, can you breathe? Each moment you exhale and inhale, what are you inhaling and exhaling? You are inhaling and exhaling the atmosphere. If for a single moment there was no air, can you survive? Your breath is your life. If your breath is your life, then whole universe is part of you. You cannot exist without it. Does your so-called religion teach you that? No. So where does your body really end? When you look at the Sanatan Dharma, that teaches you to respect the sun, the moon, the stars, the air, everything, the water, because these are the essential, and your body is formed. That is why it is said that the human body is formed of the 5 elements: the earth, the water, the fire, the space. For a single moment, you cannot exist without air, without sun, without water. So where does your body end? Where is its limit? There is no limit. If you observe, if you go deep, you will find there is no limit. Or the limit of the universe is your body limit. The whole universe is involved in you. So your body is not just body, it is miniature, micro universe, and you are grounded in it. Your mind too cannot exist without the body. Body can exist without mind, but mind cannot exist without body, because it is through the body capillary system that blood and the air reaches to the mind. It is part of it, a process of it. All divisions are destructive, and with divisions you are bound to become identified with the mind, and that is the essence of all the religions. It is said, I have heard, when Afghan ruler Bakhtiar Khilji came to India and he destroyed the universities of Nalanda and others. In Nalanda University there were 90,000 handwritten manuscripts. The universities were destroyed. So someone said, instead of putting these books to fire, let us take it with us and we will get it translated in our country and see what is the secret. He thought for a moment and he said, there can be nothing more than what it is there in Holy Quran. That is the ultimate. Nothing can be, and even if there is anything more than in Quran, that is worth discarding. And he ordered the library to be burnt. 3 months the fire could not be extinguished. 90,000 handwritten manuscripts were put to fire. This is what our narrowness, narrow understanding of the religions have taught us and did to the humanity. Your body and mind are not separate. Science has proved it now. Your existence is one, a deep harmony of the opposite poles. Body and mind are two opposite poles, but they are not divided. They are joined together. Only then they can become the opposite poles. And opposition is good. It gives challenge. It gives stamina. It gives energy. It supports one another. If you were really one, Without the opposite pole within, you would be dull and dead. Can you expect a magnet with only one pole? Can you expect your electricity bulb with only one type of current, the positive or the negative? It is through the interaction of the opposite poles that illumination happens. Life comes into existence. These two opposite poles, the body and mind, give you life. They are opposite, and at the same time they are complementary to one another, and basically and ultimately one current of energy runs in both. But once you get identified with thinking process, we think that we are centered in head. If your legs are cut, you will not feel that you are cut. You will say, my legs are cut. But if your head is cut, you are cut. You are murdered. If you close your eyes to feel where you are, immediately you will feel you are in the head. You are not there, because when for the first moment you entered into life in mother's womb, when male and female atoms, ovum and sperm, met, interacted, there was no head, but the life started. You were there and there was no head, no conditioning. It came only after you have taken birth. In the first meeting of the two life cells, the body was created. The head came later on, but your being was there. Where is that being? It is not in your head. Really, it is nowhere. Or it is everywhere in your body, in every cell. It is nowhere that you can point out where it is. And the moment you pinpoint it, you miss the whole thing. It is everywhere, all around. Your life is everywhere. Can you say your life is here, not here? It is here, it is here, it is everywhere. Your life is everywhere. It is spread all over your body. And not only all over your body, it follows you. You will have to go to the very end of the universe. It is everywhere. That is what it is said, there is a power within that knows beyond our knowings. With the identification that I am the mind, everything becomes false. What has your religions taught you? The religion is your conditioning, your mind, and with that everything else becomes false. That which is not within the periphery of your religion is false. You become unreal because the identity is false. This has to be broken. Tantra techniques are to break down the identity. The effort of Tantra is to make you headless, uncentered, everywhere or nowhere. There is no other way to say nowhere means everywhere, and everywhere means nowhere. Not centered in a particular space or a spot. And why does human beings become false and unreal with the mind? Because mind is a process. Mind is a process which is necessary, useful, but secondary. A process which consists of words, not of realities. The word water that comes from the mind is not the one that your body needs. The water that your body needs is existential. The food, the word comes from the mind, but the food that your body needs is existential. The word love is not love. The word God is not God, but mind consists of the words. It is a verbal process, and then love itself becomes less identified, less significant than the word love. Means the word becomes more important than the existence, the reality that love is. For mind, the word is more significant. God becomes less significant than the word God. For the mind, it is so. Words become more meaningful and significant. This is what all the so-called religions are, just an aggregate of words. Words and words and words and nothing else. Words become primary, and you start living in the words. And the more you live in the words, the more shallow becomes your life. And you will go on missing the reality, which is not words. Reality is existence. Living in the mind is as if someone is living in a mirror. In the night, if you go to a lake and the lake is silent, there are no ripples, the lake becomes a mirror. You can look at the moon's reflection. You can look at the moon in the lake, but that moon is false, just a reflection. The reflection comes from the real, but the reflection is not the real. Mind is just a reflecting phenomenon. The reality is reflected in it, and we have considered the reflections as reality. Whereas in reality, reflection is not real. As when you go to the lake, there are no ripples. The surface becomes shimmering. You can see the moon in the lake and you consider it reality, but it is simply a reflection. So mind becomes a reflecting media. And if you get caught in reflections, you will miss the reality really and completely. I am in favor of that religion which gives you the experience of that which is real. Everybody is bound by the law of gravitation. Can a Muslim say that I do? The gravitation does not say, there is nothing written in the holy book about gravitation, so I reject it. It is satanic. Or a Christian can say, or a Hindu can say, or an American can say, or any other nationality can say that I do not believe in gravitation, but nobody can claim gravitational force, gravitation to be Hindu, Muslim, Christian, American, Indian, German, or anything else. It is the existential law, and everyone, sentient and insentient, are bound by it. Such is the definition of, because this gravitational force holds the entire cosmos, the sentient and insentient together. Without the gravitational force, you cannot exist. So religion is that without which you cannot exist. Gravitational force that sustains and binds everyone is outside. That inner force that unites and brings synergy within is religion indeed. Tantra and the lake is silent, there are no ripples. You can see the reflection very clearly. That is why with the mind, reflection, because mind continues to wave, everything waves. A slight wave, a slight wind means the thought process that will disturb your mind. Someone says something to you, the conditioning comes like the waves in the mind. Your belief system comes like the waves or the ripples arising on the surface of the mind. The tranquility of the mind is lost. Meditation brings the tranquility to the mind and makes the surface of the mind once again quiet, silent, so that you can see the reflection clearly. Reality is not disturbed, but the mind is disturbed by everything that is infused into you, conditioned into you. Mind is a reflecting phenomenon, and we are living in the mind. That's why we are false. All the religions are mind oriented. They become the reflecting media. Tantra says, come down, descend from your throne, come down from your heads, forget the reflection and move towards the reality. All techniques which form the part of Tantra are concerned with this, how to be away from the mind so that you can move into reality. Tantra could not be made a religion. It is a way, it is scientific. Science cannot become religion. Austrian physicist Frigido, let me just get the name correctly. Austrian physicist Frigido Capra, he wrote the book Tao of Physics. He contended, physicists do not need mysticism. Physicists do not need mysticism. and mystics do not need physics. This was the thought that was going on in his mind. Physicists do not need mysticism, and mystics do not need physics, but man needs both. Tantra gives you the two. Come down from the mind, come down from your conditionings, come down from your belief system, come down from your head. Forget all about the reflections, move towards the reality. All the techniques that form the part of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra are purely scientific. It is a communion of science and mysticism. All techniques which I have been discussing over the long period of time or will continue are the process how to move away from the mind, from the conditioning, from the belief system, and help you to move into reality. Only this much for this morning. Until we meet again, take care and do have a pleasant day.